Am I the butthole for refusing to take my nieces/nephews out to fun places anymore since my sister won't help with the bill? My little sister has 6 kids, 10 male, 7 female, 6 female twins, 4 male, 2 female, who I love and babysit when I can. I'm child-free and my husband and I have a decent amount of fun money saved for us to spend on whatever we want. And I'd use mine sometimes to take my siblings fun places. I still take them all out somewhere at least 2 to 3 times a month. Now when it was just the oldest, I'd take him for a day to give my sister and brother-in-law a break. I take him to museums, fairs, kids' play places, Chuck E. Cheese, amusement park, etc. With just one kid, it was pretty easy to do. Then the second oldest came along and I was still able to swing it. But then with the addition of the twins it became harder to afford. Not to mention watching 4 kids it way harder than watching one. By the time the 4-year-old came around I couldn't afford to take them all to the same places anymore. It cost too much. So I started taking them cheaper/free places. Like the park, free kids days at the museum, the mall, swimming at my house, etc. Now with the 2-year-old, I've totally stopped taking them anywhere that costs more than a couple bucks each. But last week when I was dropping the kids off at my sister's place, the oldest asked if we could go to the fair next month. I didn't think I'd be able to afford that but didn't want to outright say no, so I told him I wasn't sure but we'd see. After the kids ran off, my sister asked why I wasn't sure about the fair and I told her I didn't think I'd be able to afford tickets and food for 7 people. She said it couldn't cost that much, so I told her that each ticket was about $10 the last time we'd gone. And that wasn't counting the money spent on food. I said I'd be happy to take them all to the fair if she paid for at least the tickets. She went off saying that she and brother-in-law didn't have that kind of money, how they had 8 mouths to feed and clothes to buy, and she couldn't waste money on the fair. I asked why she thought I was made of money and she said I had more money than them. And it's not as if I have 6 kids to care for. I told her I love taking the kids out, but if she couldn't help with paying for the expensive places then the kids would have to be content with going to the park or swimming at my house. Sister said I'm a huge butthole, and when I told our parents they said it was sort of butthole-ish since I only take them out a couple times a month instead of caring for them 24/7 like my sister. So now I don't know. Hub says I'm not the butthole, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I could swing taking them all to the fair, but it's just so expensive. Am I the butthole for asking for help paying? Edit. I want to thank everyone for all the amazing comments and DMs. After all the resounding not the A comments, I've come to the conclusion that I'd become used to my family's treatment of me over the years. I'd always been aware it wasn't really fair, but I put up with it to keep the peace and see my nibblings regularly. But I can't keep spending such outrageous amounts of money on kids that aren't even mine anymore. Especially when I'm not even getting a half-assed thank you in return. It's not fair to me. So I called my sister and told her I won't be taking her kids out for fun days for the foreseeable future. I told her that she's been really entitled to expect me to foot the bill to babysit her kids, and if she apologizes sincerely then I might start taking them out again sometime in the future. But for now I'm going to keep my distance. She didn't take it well and called me a lot of hurtful names before hanging up on me. Not long after, Mom called me and told me I was being selfish and rude. But I snapped at her that she was being rude. Expecting me to pay upwards of hundreds of dollars a month for kids that I didn't give birth to while coddling my sister was crafty parenting. And I said how sick and tired I was of being treated like free babysitting for my sister just because I never popped out any grandkids for them. And if she and my sister thought taking all the kids out 3 times a month was no big deal, then I'll send her the bill. Which I did. I sent her pictures of the receipts from the last 3 places I took my nieces/nephews. Each one being no less than $70. She hasn't called or texted back. I'll just see what happens. But thanks everyone. Edit 2 to everyone thinking I'm cutting all contact with my nibblings, I'm not. I said I wouldn't be taking them out to fun activities, aka expensive places, anymore. I still fully plan to go see them and hang out with them. But until my sister apologizes, I won't be doing the pricey weekly outings anymore. Not the butthole, so if she can't afford places like the fair because of having 8 mouths to feed, why does that responsibility have to fall to you? She's being entitled instead of grateful that you've done as much as you have all these years. Being child-free doesn't mean to have all this disposable income to spend on other people's kids no matter how much you may love them. Not the butthole. You take your nieces and nephews out 2 to 3 a month, which is far more than most aunts and uncles do, And rather than be grateful your sister is demanding you do more. Your sister is quick to count and spend your money. I think you found a very wise solution to continue spending treasured time with your nieces and nephews without breaking the bank. You've done nothing wrong at all, it's your sister who's being an unreasonable butthole. I grew up very close to my aunt and uncle, and some of my fondest memories with them are from when one or both of them babysat us at their house while my parents were both at work. Mom was a part-time worker, so it only happened occasionally that her and my dad's shifts lined up like that, and we'd spend time with them. My brother and I would play ball hockey in the basement with my cousin, we'd play GameCube, etc. They don't need to be taken to expensive places to create a strong relationship and happy memories with you. The fact that you want to be so present in their lives is amazing. Trust me, my aunt and uncle are passed away now, but I will always have my love and memories with them, and your nieces and nephews will too, whether you pay to take them somewhere or not. Definitely not the butthole here. Same with me and my aunts and uncles when growing up. They take us all on trips out occasionally to the seaside, mostly in summer, but it was mainly stuff like going to the big park in the city for picnics and to play football or something. We'd maybe get a McDonald's on the way home. A lot of the time, it was getting movies from Blockbusters and playing the PlayStation. Nothing special. Absolutely none of our parents would have dared to complain about whatever aunt/uncle not taking us somewhere more expensive. One of my aunts is child-free and was never seen as the one with extra cash to spend on the kids. Op is definitely not the butthole, and their sister is definitely just a butthole. If she wants her kids to go to the fair, she can pay for it herself instead of expecting her CF sibling to pay for it. When I was a kid, our only local relative was my aunt, who had a chronic illness and therefore 1, did not have the energy or mobility to go out much, and 2, lived on a modest disability pension and didn't have a whole lot of disposable income for fun things. When my parents had to go out for the day and couldn't arrange a playdate with one of my friends to coincide, they would drop me off at her house and I would sit on her living room floor either playing with the antique toys from her old toy box or, when I was a little older, learning how to sew. She taught me to cross-stitch from her rocking chair and showed me the embroidery she'd done over the years. It's only now that I'm thinking about it and realizing she was the most consistent loving presence in my childhood outside of my parents. As for my other relatives, I think original poster sees her nibblings more times in a year than I've seen all my uncles combined in my life. I'm completely ambivalent towards every single one of them. My aunt, though, has always been there. I will cherish the memories made in her sunny little living room for the rest of my life, and they didn't cost her a cent. Jang Jae-yul, I was this aunt for my older 2 nieces before they moved far away. I am chronically ill and on disability benefits, so never had a lot of money, but I loved having them over for playdates or just taking them for a hot chocolate after school. I was very honest with them about not being able to afford lots of treats, that it was a special thing, and that helped them understand the value of things. But our time together, reading stories snuggled on the sofa, or playing, I always kept toys and things for them at my place, or watching movies together on a rainy afternoon was so special that the oldest used to tell me I was her other parent because she knew I loved her as much as her parents did. I like my uncles because they always treat me like a person, and always have. One I saw maybe a couple times a year when I was young, the other every few years. Not the butthole. I spend more time when I visit home with my aunt, uncle and cousins than I do with my parents or anyone else. My aunt and uncle are the absolute best people I know, and all we do is eat at the house, talk about nothing in particular and watch Tiny House Nation or whatever garbage show we can. And then I'll take the kids to get like a small something or spend a day with each one individually. There are 3. Don't let her ruin that relationship. Aunts and uncles are honestly the best parts of a family. Absolutely not the butthole. Just because you are DINK, double income no kids, doesn't mean you're an ATM. Just be the fun aunt and don't worry if your family thinks you should throw out money like the one it grows on trees. Haha. I just realized I'm an oink. That's way funnier than a dink. Oink. Sink actually, single income no kids, at least that's what I was told I am. Hey, either one is better than FINK, fixed income no kids, am I right? Depends how big your fix is. As a FINK absolutely haha. Wait. Would that make me a NINK? No income no kids. I'm a SINK. Casual income no kids. And that leaves me at everyone's most hated nook. No income, 1 kid. Meaning a stay-at-home mom, not living off the government. Wouldn't that be Nyoke? Huh, I'm a link. Little income, no kids. Oink sounds way more fun than Sync though. Oink does sound more fun than Sync. Also slightly salacious. Unless they're polyamorous and octuple income, no kids. I like Oink better. I call myself a dinkid, double income, no kids, 1 dog. My sister used to call her family a sitcom, single income, 2 children, and oppressive mortgage. Now she has an income and they've almost paid off their mortgage, so it doesn't work anymore. Happy to be Dinker. Double income, no kids, headed for early retirement, because we had no kids. The real question is why she has 8 kids when she obviously can't afford them. This for some reason your sister and mother feel wrongly that your money is to be spent as your sister sees fit. Your sister should be thanking you for doing anything at all with the kids, but instead she's being incredibly entitled. Please stand your ground and nip her horrible behavior in the bud. Shame on her. Also, your mom isn't allowed an opinion unless she's forking over some money. Not the butthole. Not the butthole, so if she can't afford places like the fair because of having 8 mouths to feed, why does that responsibility have to fall to you? Let me be blunter. If the sister wants thousands of dollars for laying on her back, she better take it up with the man on top of her instead. Off original poster. Not the butthole. Not the butthole. If your sister doesn't have that kind of money, maybe they should stop having children. I'd have stopped at the same point as you. I wouldn't be willing to look after 4 kids even if the tickets were paid for. She should be grateful you're essentially offering free childcare. You're essentially offering free childcare. This. So not only is original poster babysitting 6 children for free, but must also be willing to spend $100 plus, as well? 6 kids at the fair may cost $70 to get in, but fair food is also expensive. Plus I can't even imagine the stress of juggling 6 kids at the fair. Bathrooms alone would be a nightmare. And cost of all the games they would want to play, any rides, easily several $100s within a few hours. Taking my 2 to the fair 2 years ago cost over $150. Bracelets were $23 a piece and to park cost $10. A simple drink there was no less than $4. Each game was $5. I can only imagine how much it'd cost to take 6 kids. Even if they brought food and drinks, it'd still easily be a couple $100. I took my nephew to a Lego convention last year. I got the tickets for free since I'd worked it at a previous location, but parking cost $20. I bought him a $30 hat and took him out for food afterwards. I went cheap for food, so we did Denny's. He ate off the kids' menu, and I skipped. Day cost me $60. If I'd had to buy the tickets, it would have been another $40, I believe. That's for 1 kid and me. That day cost nearly as much as I made working the event. Fairs are such a effing money sink. I'm glad we took our kids once, but I'm in no rush to do it again. Taking myself to the amusement park or fair, or zoo, is expensive enough. I can't imagine taking several kids with no real understanding of budgets and even less impulse control than me. Oh, man, yeah. Somehow, I didn't think of rides/games. I took my kids and 1 other to the state fair a couple of years back. The local school children get a free ticket, so I only had to pay for my own ticket to get in. It was just the 4 of us and I still ended up spending over $300, and that was with me being cheap and not buying wristbands. The county fair is cheaper, but all in, it's still around $150 for the 4 of us. I took myself, my husband, and 2 kids to the fair last year. Admission, $15/adult and $12/kid. So we're at $54 just getting through the gate. Want a corn dog? $8 by 4, so there's another $32. Oh, you're thirsty? 20-ounce sodas are $3 a piece, so let's add another $12 to the tab. Cotton candy. $6. An elephant ear? $10. And that's not including rides, games, or anything else. And that's for 2 adults and 2 kids. She has herself plus 6 kids. Not the butthole. Sis needs to kick in or shut up. Exactly. When sis went off about not paying for the tickets, original poster should have just said it couldn't cost that much. Sister is mad entitled, thinking her family owes her expensive paid outings for 6 kids she apparently can't afford. Not the butthole op. Not the butthole. You are not obligated to take them off your sister's hands at all, period. So even babysitting those 2 or 3 times a month is a favor to her, and she should be grateful instead of feeling entitled to your money and time. I have one son, and in 9 years, my brother-in-law had never once asked to take my son for any amount of time. The expectations in this story are insane to me. My husband and I had 4 kids. They were born in 97, 98, 00, and 02. They were only all 4 away from us a handful of times. Most of those when half were over 13. Your sister is lucky if you take one of her hands. Not the butthole. Separate note: if you want to bond with your nieces and nephews, you could do things separately with them. You and oldest enjoying going to fairs, that's your thing, but you and the twins do something else. Might have to wait till they're all little older, but there's a thought for you. Not to appease your sister. I think that's a really good idea. Because it's really hard to get to know several children on a personal level when you're always around all 6 of them. Plus, it would make the cost more manageable. Downside is that original poster would probably only get one-on-one time with each individual every 2 months or so, because each child has to wait for their turn. But if that is something original poster wanted to do, I could see it working. And then they could maybe spend time with all 8 every other month or so? Maybe a longer gap? But, of course, this is something original poster wants to do for themselves and the children. If they are trying to appease their sister, then original poster should not do it and maybe see the kids less. It might not fair to the children, but it's certainly not fair to original poster that their sister sees them as a personal ATM. Twice a month is a lot. Original poster is getting took. Op should just take the eldest 3 for fun activities and leave the younger ones with their parents. It's not as a toddler will care about going to a fair. Op has been very kind to babysit all of the kids all of these years. Raising her sister's children is not her responsibility. This exactly. The 2-year-old will be unable to participate in any rides, the 4-year-old will be unable to participate in half the rides, and the 2 6-year-olds might not get some of the rides, all due to the height requirements. It would be so much better to take just the 10 and maybe the 7-year-old to the fair. Not only will it cost less, but also they will remember it, and original poster will not have to stand with 2 to 4 children waiting for every ride. If original poster wants to ride on the rides with the kids, she can't do that with a 2 and 4-year-old who won't be allowed on. I think it would also be good for the younger kids / the kids who don't go to learn that it's okay to not be included in everything all the time. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.